Qingxu. It is said that Xing Yunfei is from Shenzhenfu, Hebei province. He likes to play with stones. When he sees stones with particularly beautiful shapes, he will never buy them at any cost. Once, I accidentally went fishing in the river, and something in the water caught the net. He lurked under the water and fished it out. At first glance, he saw that it was a square stone about a foot long, with exquisite and clear sides and overlapping peaks, which was extremely beautiful. Xing Yunfei was very happy, as if he had received a priceless treasure. He took it home, carved a base out of red sandalwood, and placed the stone on top. Display on the table. Whenever it is about to rain, clouds and smoke will emerge from every pore of the stone. Looking from a distance, it looks like it is stuffed with white cotton wool. A powerful local tycoon came to Xing Yunfei's home and asked to see the stone. As soon as he saw the stone, he handed the stone to the servant and rode away with his whip. Xing Yunfei had no choice but to stamp his feet and feel sad and angry. The servant carried the stone to the river and placed it on the bridge to rest. Suddenly he lost his hand and the stone fell into the river. The wealthy man whipped his servant angrily and immediately paid to hire people who were good at water to fish in the water. However, they tried their best to search everywhere but never found it. In the end, I had to post a promise to pay a large reward to salvage the stone, and left. From then on, people who went to the water to salvage stones crowded the river every day, but in the end no one got it. Later, Xing Yunfei came to the place where the stone fell, looked at the surging river and sobbed and cried. I saw that the water in the river was crystal clear, but the stones were still in the water. Xing Yunfei was so happy that he took off his clothes and jumped into the water. He emerged from the bottom of the river with the stone in his arms and took it home. He no longer dared to place the stone in the living room, so he cleaned a clean room and displayed the stone there. One day, an old man suddenly knocked on the door and asked to see the stone. Xing Yunfei pretended that the stone had been lost. The old man smiled and said, "It's on display in the living room, isn't it?" Xing Yunfei invited him into the living room to confirm that it was indeed missing. When the old man and Xing Yunfei walked into the living room, the stone was indeed not on the tables in the living room. Xing Yunfei was stunned and speechless. The old man stroked the stone with his hand and said, "This is an old thing from my family. It has been lost for a long time. I only found out today that it is here. Now that I have found it, please return it to me." Xing Yunfei was very embarrassed, so he talked to the old man, arguing over who is the true owner of the stone. The old man smiled and said, "Since it's yours, what's the verification?" Xing Yunfei couldn't answer. The old man laughed and said, "I already knew that there are 92 holes in the front and back of this stone. There are 5 words in the big hole which are, Qingxu Sky Stone Offering. Yes, there are small characters engraved in the holes, as fine as millet grains. Only by looking carefully can you identify it clearly. Counting its holes is just like what the old man said." Xing Yunfei had nothing to say, but insisted not to give it. The old man smiled and said, "It's up to you to decide who owns it." He cupped his hands and left. Xing Yunfei sent him out. When he returned to the house, he was surprised to find that the stone was gone. Suspecting that the old man had done it, he hurriedly chased the old man. But the old man was walking slowly and had not gone far yet. He ran forward and pulled his sleeves, begging. The old man said, "How strange! Can such a big stone be held in one's hands and hidden in one's sleeve?" Xing Yunfei knew that the old man was a god, so he dragged him back, knelt in front of him and begged to return it to him. The old man asked, "Does the stone belong to your family or mine?" "Right here." Xing Yunfei entered the inner room, but the stone was still there. The old man said, "The treasures in the world should be given to those who truly cherish them. I am also happy that this stone can choose its own owner. However, this stone is eager to reveal itself. He was born too early, and the bad luck is still there. It has not been eliminated. I really want to take it away and give it to you after 3 years. However, since you definitely want to keep it, your lifespan should be shortened. By 3 years so that this stone can be with you from beginning to end. Are you willing? Yes, Xing Yanfei said. Yes. The old man then pinched the orifice of the stone with his fingers. The orifice was as soft as mud and closed easily. The old man pinched the 3 orifices and said, "The number of holes in the stone is the number of your lifespan." The old man wanted to leave, but Xing Yanfei tried hard to persuade him to stay, but the old man said goodbye firmly. Xing Yanfei asked him his last name, but he left without telling him. A year later, Xing Yanfei went out for something. A thief came to his room at night. Nothing else was lost except for the stone. Xing Yanfei came back and saw that the stone was missing. He was so sad that he died. He visited and made purchases everywhere, but there was no trace or clue. A few years later, I accidentally went to Baogu Temple and saw a stone seller. When I got closer, I saw that it was the stone I had lost. Xing Yanfei was ready to claim his stone. But the stone seller was very dissatisfied, so he took the stone to the government and sued him. The government asked, "What evidence do you have?" The stone seller could clearly tell the number of holes in the stone. Xing asked about other characteristics of selling stones, but he was at a loss and couldn't tell. Xing Yanfei then explained the 5 characters in the stone orifices and the 3 finger marks of the orifices being pinched shut. Xing Yanfei's justice was upheld. The official then wanted to beat the stone seller with a stick. The stone seller explained that he bought it in the market for 20 taels of silver and then let him go. After Xing Yanfei got the stone, he wrapped it in brocade silk and hid it in a wooden cabinet. He would watch it occasionally and burn incense before taking it out. There was a minister who wanted to buy Xing Yanfei's stone for 100 taels of silver. But Xing Yanfei replied, "I won't sell even 10,000 taels of gold." The minister was very angry, so he used other excuses to frame Xing Yanfei and put him in prison. In order to rescue Xing Yanfei, his family pawned and sold their property. The minister then asked someone to send a message to Xing Yanfei's son, who then told Xing Yanfei about the situation. Xing Yanfei would rather die with a stone than give it to the minister. Xing Yanfei's wife secretly discussed with his son and dedicated the stone to the minister. Xing Yanfei only found out about this incident after he was released from prison. He scolded his wife and beat his son and tried to commit suicide many times. But his family members found out that he did not commit suicide. One night, Xing Yanfei dreamed of a great man coming, claiming to be Qingxu. Tell Xing, "Don't be sad. I have only been separated from you for more than a year. You can go to Chongwenmen in the early morning of August 20th next year and you can redeem it with 2 coins. After Xing Yanfei got this dream, he was very happy and remembered this day especially. Besides, after the stone arrived at Qingshu's house, it no longer had the miraculous effect of emitting smoke from its holes. As time went by, Qingshu no longer regarded this stone as precious. The next year, the minister was dismissed from his post after being found guilty, and then died. Xing Yanfei went to Chongwenmen as scheduled. The family of the minister stole the stone and were looking for a buyer. Later, when Xing Yanfei was 89 years old, he prepared the funeral materials and shrouds and told his son that he must use this stone for burial. Soon, Xing Yanfei died, and his son buried the stone in the grave in accordance with his last will and testament. About half a year later, thieves dug up the grave and stole the stones. Xing Yanfei's son knew about it, but he couldn't search for it. 2 or 3 days passed. Xing Yanfei's son was walking on the road with his servant. Suddenly he saw 2 people stumbling and sweating profusely. They confessed to the sky and said, "Mr. Xing, don't force me. The 2 of us took the stone, but sold it for 4. It's just 2 pieces of silver." Xing Yanfei's son caught the 2 stone thieves and sent them to the government. After interrogation, they were convicted. Asked where the stone had gone, he said it had been sold to a man named Gong. After taking the stone back, the chief played with it and couldn't put it down. He actually wanted to get the stone and ordered it to be stored in the official treasury. The officer lifted the stone. Suddenly it fell to the ground and broke into dozens of pieces. Everyone was stunned. The chief then executed the 2 thieves who stole the stone with severe punishment. Xing Yanfei's son picked up the fragments of the stone and buried them in Xing Yanfei's grave after returning.
Alright, this story has come to an end. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you.